This is a high-stakes moment in global politics. The United States and Iran, two longtime rivals, are now sitting at the same table in Islamabad, Pakistan, attempting to prevent a war that has already shaken the world. But the critical question remains, are these talks truly about peace, or are they destined to fail? Behind the scenes, tensions continue to rise, trust remains fragile, and military preparations have not stopped. What we are witnessing is not just diplomacy, but a delicate balancing act between war and peace. To understand the urgency of these talks, we need to look at what led to this moment. Just weeks ago, a major escalation took place when the United States and its allies launched coordinated strikes targeting Iran's military and nuclear infrastructure. The consequences were devastating: thousands of casualties, significant destruction, and a sharp rise in regional instability. Iran responded forcefully, including disrupting activity in the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most crucial oil routes in the world. This move sent shockwaves through global markets, impacting oil prices, supply chains, and economies worldwide. Under immense international pressure, both sides agreed to a temporary ceasefire, opening the door for diplomatic talks, with Islamabad chosen as neutral ground. Now, for the first time since the conflict escalated, high-level delegations from both countries have arrived in Islamabad. Pakistan has taken on the role of mediator, hosting discussions under tight security. The goal of these talks is ambitious: to transform a fragile ceasefire into a lasting peace agreement, stabilize global energy routes, and prevent a wider regional war. However, even as discussions begin, signs of tension are already visible, raising doubts about whether meaningful progress can be achieved. One of the biggest challenges facing these talks is deep-rooted mistrust. The United States and Iran have decades of hostility between them, and that history continues to shape their current positions. The U.S. questions Iran's intentions, particularly regarding its nuclear ambitions, while Iran remains skeptical of American commitments, especially after past agreements were abandoned. Without trust, even the most carefully planned negotiations struggle to succeed. In addition to mistrust, there are major disagreements between the two sides. The United States is demanding strict limitations on Iran's nuclear program, restrictions on its missile capabilities, and a reduction in its influence across the Middle East. Iran, on the other hand, is calling for the complete lifting of economic sanctions, a withdrawal of U.S. military presence from the region, and greater control over strategic areas, including the Strait of Hormuz. These demands are not just different, they are fundamentally opposed, making compromise extremely difficult. The Strait of Hormuz itself remains one of the most critical flashpoints in this conflict. Nearly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through this narrow waterway, making it vital to global energy security. Iran's desire to exert influence over the strait has alarmed the United States and its allies, who see any disruption as a direct threat to the global economy. This issue alone has the potential to derail negotiations if not handled carefully. Complicating matters further are broader regional tensions. The conflict extends beyond just the U.S. and Iran, involving multiple actors across the Middle East. Ongoing instability in countries like Lebanon, military actions by Israel, and various proxy conflicts all contribute to an environment where peace is difficult to achieve. Any escalation in these areas could quickly undermine the talks in Islamabad. At the same time, the shadow of military action still looms large. While negotiations are underway, the United States continues to prepare for the possibility that talks may fail. Reports suggest that military assets are being positioned, and leaders have made it clear that if diplomacy collapses, force could be used again. This creates a situation where negotiations are taking place under constant pressure, with the threat of war never far away. Some analysts believe these talks are not necessarily aimed at achieving a final resolution, but rather at buying time. Both sides may be using diplomacy as a way to regroup, reassess their strategies, and avoid appearing weak on the global stage. Even Pakistan, acting as the host, has set modest expectations, focusing not on a comprehensive peace deal, but simply on keeping the dialogue alive. This suggests that while the talks are important, a breakthrough may not be imminent. The outcome of these discussions carries significant implications for the entire world. A successful agreement could stabilize oil markets, reduce global tensions, and prevent further conflict in an already volatile region. On the other hand, failure could lead to a return to full-scale war, disruption of global energy supplies, rising inflation, and increased insecurity worldwide. The stakes could not be higher. So, are the US-Iran talks in Islamabad doomed to fail? The answer remains uncertain. On one hand, the very fact that both sides are engaging in dialogue offers a glimmer of hope. On the other hand, deep mistrust, conflicting demands, and ongoing military threats make the path to peace extremely challenging. This is diplomacy at its most fragile, where even a small misstep could have massive consequences. For now, the world is watching Islamabad closely. There is hope for peace, but there is also a growing fear that these talks may not be enough to prevent further conflict. As negotiations continue, one thing is clear: the decisions made here could shape the future of global stability for years to come.